Okay, so a few months ago, we saw that they were going to do a remake of Ghostbusters, and all I knew about it was going to have an all-female cast. So what I and I know that there's now a trailer out because a couple people that I still kind of follow on YouTube. I don't sub to them, but I look at them every once in a while. Had this video. It said Ghostbusters trailer, reaction. So I'm like, whoa, whoa, I can't watch this yet. I didn't know there was a trailer out. So I put all that down, and I'm gonna watch the trailer because I want to see it. So this is gonna be a first reaction video to this trailer, and afterwards I'm gonna talk about it for a little while. So here we go.
It's a class 4 operation. It's okay. She seems peaceful.
My name is Erin Gilbert, Doctor of Particle Physics at... That stuff went everywhere, by the way, in every crack. Very hard to wash off.
We have dedicated our whole lives to studying the paranormal. Now there's sightings all over the city. There are people out there that need our help. Holtzman, you're a brilliant engineer. Aaron, no one's better at quantum physics than you. We can provide a real service.
I'm joining the club. You guys are really smart about this science stuff, but I know New York. And I can borrow a car from my uncle.
You didn't disclose that the vehicle was going to be a hearse.
It's a Cadillac!
Let's go.
Let's go.
Oh, did you want to?
Sorry, I'll let you.
Next time. Okay.
Someone is creating a device that amplifies paranormal activity. And we might be the only ones who can stop it.
Holtzman, come on.
The hat is too much, right? Is it the wig or the hat?
There's a bigger picture at hand here. These ghosts can possess the human form.
Oh, hell no, the devil is a liar! Get out of my friend, Ghost!
Ow, that's gonna leave a mark.
The power of pain compels you!
Ow!
What did I just... I need a moment. Hold on. I went into this with an open mind. And, yeah, that made me... Where do I start? Where do I begin with this? Is the question. Okay. Should I start with the good points? The remix of the song was kind of nice. A really tall stilt ghost that looked like a cross between Jack Skellington and Beetlejuice kind of looked cool. The Ecto-1, when it was pimped out, looked kind of cool, but the red top kind of took away from it. All white would have been better. Hell, even all black. All black probably would have made that better. Different, but same. Similar, but different. But it was okay. Slimer, for the third of a second we saw him, looked pretty good. And That's all I. That. Now let's start. Now let's start with the problems. I heard there was going to be an all-female cast. I didn't care as long as the script and the interaction was good. That is all that matters. These characters, I didn't feel like they worked as Ghostbusters. These characters felt like they just tried to copy a trait of the original Ghostbusters and didn't care about chemistry. And then there's the black girl. Look, Winston, yeah, he was the black guy in Ghostbusters, but he came in halfway through the movie. He was the everyday man looking for a job. Let's talk just about the fictional characters' names. Ray Stats was the overeager child of the group. Venkman was the wise ass of the group, but he was also the business guy. And Egon was their tech man. He was their physicist, and they needed him for their inventions. Winston brought the everyman to the group. He brought a lot of common sense, and he brought a good anchoring for the three to make them four. So he anchored things. He put things into a perspective that they didn't have. That's why Winston worked. Anywhere in Ghostbusters, did you ever feel like Winston was just a black ghetto stereotype? I know the streets of New York, so you need me. The black girl in this cast just felt like they threw her in there because they wanted to copy the original cast, 3 whites and a black. She didn't bring anything. Speaks ghetto and the power of pain. That doesn't work as a fourth. She could have been one of the particle physics, and then a white girl could have come in and said, you know, I'm the everyone. But why did you have to think that you needed to copy the 4? What is the problem with creating something more in the mythos and the fictional world of Ghostbusters? What would be wrong with these 4 women being somehow the nieces and daughters of the original 4? And when they retired, they found all of the stuff, and they decided that, you know, we could bring this back because there are paranormal things happening. Wouldn't that be a good idea? Wouldn't that be good? This cast, what was licking the gun? Yeah, because I want to lick a freaking particle accelerator. Oh, and that's when they showed the proton pack and the nuclear symbol, there was a fucking heart in the middle of it. What? Because they're girls, right? They got to put a fucking heart in everything. Did you notice that? Because little fucking pink heart right in the middle, well, red heart actually. But what was that? Why does that have to be there? Who are you catering to? All the ghosts were bright neon ghosts. They looked they looked like they were lifted straight out of Scooby-Doo the movie. Yeah, that's what they look like. Now, Slimer was kind of neon in the original, but we had so many other things but than ghosts. We had those dog-like demons that possessed Dana and what was his name, Lewis. Those weren't ghosts; those were demons, monster demons. And Gozer, a god, not a ghost. It's just the paranormal buildup also generated ghosts, and we knew that Slimer was a class 3, as they called him, and he wasn't actually a dead person. He wasn't a person. He was a culmination of a certain emotion manifest into a physical entity. Greed, gluttony, sorry. So we had things that weren't dead people, then we had some ghosts, then we had other things that weren't ghosts. And if you play Ghostbusters the game that came out like 7 years ago, they expanded on that even further. There's ghosts and demons and gods and everything. All we saw here were ghosts. and it didn't look like any thought was put into them other than making them bright neon. I'm kind of okay with different gadgets other than the proton pack because Ghostbusters, the game, had different gadgets. I guess I'm okay with the fists that they can melee. I'm kind of okay with that. And I would even be okay with little guns that would shoot blasts to stun before they could get the stream in. I'd be okay with them having different packs, like 2 stream packs and then 2 different packs, or that they could swap out. Because the game did that. You know, peripherals, swappables, interactive things. I'd be okay with that. As long as the main weapon is the streams, you know. But didn't feel like well, the interaction of these characters doesn't. It feels forced. It feels contrived. It feels like they just cashed in on something. They bought the franchise and then they just went all girl power on the damn thing. It's a slapstick, lowest common denominator humor. Remember the humor in the original Ghostbusters? Remember that? The humor meshed because it usually followed something serious. The build-up in the first Ghostbusters showed the lions outside the library. It showed the librarian pushing the cart, and then you never actually saw the ghost. That was build-up. And then you saw the characters. There's actually a deleted scene where it shows why they got fired. They go to the library, you know, get her, and then that was a startle moment. Now it might not be scary by today's standards at all, and the effects are dated, but they still look good. They hold up, and that actually startled me. I mean, I'm a 1984. It scared some adults and it scared some kids. I was a kid when it showed, and that was build up. And then you also had the pseudo gropey, rapish kind of implied scene with Dana when she's sitting down. She's like, "I have a date, Mom. I have to go." And then the hands come out of the chair, grip her down, grope her, put her on the thigh and the shoulder, and then the chair swivels and goes into the kitchen, and it's implied there was some kind of demon rape there, and that was actually freaky. That freaked me out as a kid. And then there was a romance in Ghostbusters, but it wasn't a I love you romance. It was an interaction between two characters, and that was it. And a lot of it was implied. Kind of like Star Wars Empire Strikes Back. The romance was kind of there, but implied. That's why that worked. That's why the humor worked. Followed something serious. It wasn't just there to make you chuckle. They weren't throwaway gags. And I want to talk about the demographic. Just before I go here. You know Ghostbusting is a messy job? How many times do they get messed up? Okay, they go into the library and all the cards are everywhere with ectoplasm, and then Venkman's like, oh god, Roof gets on his forehead, he's like, oh, and then he gets slimed by Slimer. I feel so funky, he's drenched in the shit. Marshmallow Man blows up, that's messy. Think about the rubble they're sifting through, that's dirty. Think about Ghostbusters 2 when Winston gets pulled into the river of slime and they all jumping after him. They're in slime and then they come out and it's like the awakening of the blob. You know, Ghostbusting is a messy job. And if you look at the statistics of how many females are in messy jobs, it's less than 2%. It's like 1%, a little bit over, maybe less. It's like somewhere around 1%. Women don't like messy jobs. Sewer, sanitation, and any type of industrial work, there's very few female grease monkeys because women don't like dirty jobs. Now, you can find them. Hell, you can even go to like that show, Dirty Jobs, and there might even be girls on there, but they're cherry picking those. They're looking for those. Ghostbusting is a messy job. Remember when Winston, when Walter Peck comes in Ghostbusters 1, and Venkman just put something away in storage, and he's covered in the goop, so basically he just came back from a job. He shakes Peck's hand and then puts his hand on the suit. You can see slime. They get coated in this stuff. What are the odds of you finding... I muted my mic. Sorry. What are the odds of finding one woman, much less 4, all in similar fields except the token black chick, all in scientific fields, which is very rare to find women in because most of the time they don't choose STEM fields. They choose gender studies. There's no money in that. Secondly, they also want to do dirty job. you can't. The demographic just doesn't add up. Now, if all the planets align, you might find them, but you know, they have like again. It's not about being all female, but it just doesn't make any sense that these four women who don't seem to have any common chemistry would all want to stop working their university jobs and then go into something dirty. The trailer didn't show how they do that. I'll give you that. But it showed... Okay, it showed the slime coming out of her ears and nose. That's like the only practical effect we saw. Everything else is just like PG. And neon ghosts. Are there any other monsters? This trailer sucked. If the idea of a trailer is to get the demographic that you want interested, and apparently the demographic for this new Ghostbusters movie is not the people who grew up with the original and even the sequel. Think about this for a second. The sequel came out 6 years after the first. It wasn't as good, but I didn't think it was horrible. It just wasn't as good. They took their time with this stuff. Now sequels, like, do sequel bait, and it comes out every year, you know. Like, just making them female change the fact that the acting in the trailer sucked. And what was the comedy didn't make any sense. Like, it's the wig. Is it the wig or the hat? That kind of humor isn't the same thing as the humor you saw in the original with Venkman. I saw it, I saw it, I saw it. It's right here, Ray. It's looking at me. He's an ugly little spud, isn't he? I think he can hear you, Ray. I mean, that was good humor. And that was right before a suspense build up and Slimer slimes him. Then you actually didn't even see the slime, him actually smooshing all around him, but you saw it was implied. I mean, that is actually pretty good. It's not golden writing, but it works. That's why that humor works. That's why that silly humor works. We didn't see really anything like that here. And I would so go on a rant right now about a different topic that's linked to this, but I think I've said all I need to say. I think this trailer is not catering to the demographic who are fans of Ghostbusters, me and other people. People who saw it as a kid and adults back then were kids and adults. So the people who grew up with the franchise are now at least in their 30s. People who only grew up with Ghostbusters 2, let's say they were born 1985 maybe, so when they were 6 or 7 they saw it for the first time. They still didn't get the first one unless they went back and saw it. So at the minimum, you've got a demographic who are in their 20s, but most of us who are fans are in their 30s, 40s, 50s, or 60s. You've got that giant demographic of people, and that trailer did not cater to any one of us, I don't think. That trailer catered to lowest common denominator. I'm trying to think of a really bad movie. R.I.P.D. This is R.I.P.D. humor. Humor that doesn't fit, really. It's there to get a chuckle, and then they throw it out to move on to the next gag. That's what that feels like. Any other movie I can think of? Nah, that's probably a good example right there. And R.I.P.D. bombed. This movie is going to bomb. I will not see this. The trailer might not be a fair representation, but I don't think this is good. Sorry. This is just shit.